With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right, we are live. It is the Raw reaction show, and this show was very good. Very good. It led, basically started off with Rhea Ripley, and the first 2 hours was kind of Mami coming home to Raw, returning to the Judgment Day. I've got a couple minor things, and again, maybe they'll explain a lot of this later, and there's time to build up and other things there. I kind of felt that the Rhea Ripley Dom story and the whole Judgment Day story with Rhea could have went a little bit longer. It felt like she comes back. We always knew her and Damian were in communication, and it seems that nobody else was in communication. We found out more tonight, of course, with Dom and the segments there where he said, you know, I've been trying to reach out to you all week. And Rhea says, well, what about the 3 months I've been gone? You know, and things like that. And then also in other segments on Raw before that, Damian had confronted him about being and contacting Rhea Ripley. So it was very interesting watching the interactions. Finn Balor did interact with Rhea Ripley and said, look, I know Liv helped us win the titles. And Rhea said, hey, I'm just glad the titles are back where they belong with Judgment Day, and soon I'll have mine back. And that's kind of the interaction with Finn and with JD McDonough. She had interaction with Damian, which we already knew that was, you know, legit. She did ask about Carlito. Damian said, oh, it's a long story. I'll tell you later. You did see she comes out, she challenges Liv to SummerSlam. Liv does accept, said that, you know, she kind of sorry about her voice. She left it. She kind of lost it in Mexico because she's a screamer. And then said, like, you know, how you doing, Daddy Dom? And then during the Jey Uso match, Jey Uso actually comes out in a very, very interesting segment in the backstage area. Damian and Dom are kind of talking back and forth. And Jay comes over to Damian and is like, hey, is it true? Is it true? Rhea's single and ready to mingle? And Dom took exception to that and said he was going to fight him. Goes to Adam Pearce, gets the match. During the match, Dom got a good portion of that match. I was very interested. It was very interesting to me to see that he controlled most of the match with Jey Uso. Then Jay comes back on him, gets him ready to lay out for the splash from the top rope. Liv Morgan comes out, saves him. He's like, you got to go. You got to go. And then the baseball slide to the back. Dom, of course, falls on top of Liv. Liv reverses it, straddles Dom, and Rhea's music hits. Rhea comes out. Liv Morgan hauls ass through the crowd, up the stairs, and leaves. Dom kind of follows Mami around the ring. Mami says, get back in and finish the match. He gets back in. He gets a spear, the splash from the top rope. Jey Uso wins the match. I did find it interesting to when Mami is getting ready to leave, she's kind of staring back toward the ring. If you watch Jey Uso, he's like, hey, call me. And she kind of smirked, like a little smile. She turned around and she left by herself. Then later on in the back, Dom's walking, runs into Damian. He's like, you lost in front of Mami, huh? And then he goes, oh, speaking of which, actually said you lost in front of Rhea. And then he goes, speaking of which, and then Rhea says, let's get one thing straight. Nobody owns Mami. Then she's got a flower, gives it to Dom and says, but you're mine. So I'm guessing it slid things over. Let's see. Damian was his best backstage and on stage tonight. Yeah, Damian had a great promo, great, starting to build up for the SummerSlam match with Gunther. And then a very impressive victory over Braun Strowman. I understand what WWE is doing by building up, again, he beats Braun Strowman clean in the ring. He's building up to face Gunther. Gunther came out in the promo, says he hasn't earned it and that he was built for this. Damian tells him, you were handed everything in Europe. And I've had to earn the title. He said, you've done nothing since you've gotten the title. Your reign has been nothing. You're like all these fans. You're street trash. Kind of made it personal when he said your family didn't raise you right and, and things like that. And they got into a little bit of fisticuffs. And then Gunther powdered out and left just to set up put that intrigue in there to build interest around the Damian Gunther story. And again, you've got till August, the end of actually July, because August 3rd will be so you got a couple weeks to build up to get to SummerSlam for Gunther and Damian. I found it interesting that Damian had a match, especially against like Strowman. I know they're doing the whole storyline of Judgment Day and Strowman, and he wasn't happy that they didn't take care of it, so he felt he had to take care of it himself. But Gunther, when I look back at it, I don't believe he's wrestled since the King of the Ring matches. So we'll see where that leads. Let's see. Parker Curry says, do you like Ryback? I'm not a big fan of Ryback. Not that I don't like him. I'm not a big fan of the Ryback thing. Alpha Academy with Xavier Woods versus Final Testament. It works. And it was very interesting. I like that backstage. They're kind of talking amongst themselves and they're like, yeah, we'll help them out. Yeah. And then Chad Gable walks up and is like, oh, I'm glad you guys, you're going to help me out, this and that. And then Maxine's like, no. Kofi Kingston's injured. And then Xavier Woods kind of walks in and they do the thing. And then it will be now Alpha Academy, or basically Otis and Tozawa with Xavier Woods getting fed to basically the Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross in the AOP. So we'll see what that goes and what the hell happens there. So let me see what else. Cat for Life in Love the Smoke and Darkness of Bo Dallas, but it's time to wrestle. Creed brothers got suits. You know what's interesting to me about that whole thing? And I saw this on X, and I don't even remember if it was just some another wrestling fan that sent it out, or if it was a sheet or anything there. But they were like, man, the Wyatt Six segment should have ended the show. And after watching the main event, it was a great match between Sami and Dragunov. And then Braun Breaker comes out and spears Dragunov, beats down Sami, then spears him to end the show. But I think I'm going to tend to agree with them. And this is the second part where I have a small minor, thing, is that why would that have not ended the show? If the last thing you saw was, the Wyatt Six logo flash, and then we're out of Raw, instead of basically you're trying to set up looks like a three-way for SummerSlam between Sami, Braun Breaker, and Dragunov. I think I would have liked to have seen the Wyatt Six thing end the same way I think I would have liked to seen, and again, maybe maybe it's a little bit of smoke and mirrors with the Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio thing, where everybody thinks, oh, it's kind of smoothed over now. Maybe it's not, but I think I would have liked to have seen it, Dom squirm for another week or so before all of this. And then now, where does Liv fall in line? And then does Dom end up turning on Rhea? What happens with Judgment Day? It just felt like, to me, with the way, and we'll get more into the Wyatt Six in a minute, because I want to go over the videotape again that was done during the Pat McAfee show, and then how it played into today's. But I felt like the Judgment Day was in such disarray, and then you bring back Rhea Ripley, and now it feels like, okay, all Mami returns and now everything's well. But I think it could have been slow played more and built up, leading more into SummerSlam. But hey, look, we got weeks to go before, so maybe it's not all what it appears on the surface, and we know how WWE does. Sometimes everything's not as kosher as it appears, so we'll see what happens as we go closer to SummerSlam. Let me jump over here to the chat. Let's see. They're saying hello to Parker. We welcome you to the show. Let's see. He says, there you are. Maybe he's trying to bring it. You know what? I was going back and trying, and I, again, doing the live reaction shows right after, I didn't want to go back to it. I thought I wrote down, he said, there you are, but I wanted to verify that's what he said. But obviously now I kind of got verification, because No Doubt says, there you are. I wrote it down. I was like, I'm trying to figure out like where he said, there you are. Chad Gable, because again, what happens, let's go through the whole Wyatt Six throughout the day. Chad Gable shows up to Adam Pearce, said, he's the sleuth of all sleuths of WWE. He's figured it out. Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas, because nobody knew that. Nobody was aware of that. I mean, thank you, Chad Gable. And he said he was aware that he met with Bo Dallas last week. Adam Pearce said, do what you got to do. You call him out. And Chad Gable says, you know what? The same thing he said last week, right? I'll take care of it myself. I got to do everything myself. I'll call him out tonight. Chad Gable comes out to the ring. He says he figured out the caper. Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy. Bo Dallas, get out here. Bo Dallas comes out, and the Creed brothers attack him from behind. And they lay waste to him. And they're beating the crap out of him. They got their little suits on, looking fresh. So now, they run his head into the post. They do a double team move on to him. Gable's beating him down. All meanwhile, as Bo Dallas is working his way up, he's doing that sinister laugh, right? The laugh that you used to get, all the time. And then he gets to the corner. Chad Gable comes over to him. He's yelling at him. And he's like, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Grabs him by the face. He's like, why are you laughing? And he looks at him and he says, there you are. There you are. And Gable looks totally like flustered and like, what the hell? And just as he says that, the lights start going out. The music hits. And the Wyatt Six, you start seeing Nikki Cross come out with the lantern. You see the other three members join her at the entranceway. And they walk their way to the ring. Gable and the Creeds are there waiting for them. Like they want to fight. Then you saw Eric Rowan step up on the ring. The other two step up on the ring. Gable hauls ass out of the ring. The Creed brothers are kind of left there for like about 5 or 6 seconds by themselves. They're kind of looking around. They decide to hightail it. Bo Dallas staggers to the ring, the middle of the ring, kind of drops to his knees, all fours. The other members of the Wyatt Six come in. They kind of pick him up a little bit. Nikki Cross comes in with the lantern right in front of him. And it's like he's re-energized once the lantern's in front of him and he brings up his arms. There's some cool ass shots on X if you're there and you see them. A little bit more better lighting than what you probably saw on the TV. And then they go to break. And leading up to this whole thing also, again, on the Pat McAfee show, it happened again. You Lied was played during an interview with the guy for baseball. And then they show the wide shot of his studio, and there's a box there on the floor by the basketball court. Goes and picks it up, and of course, it's a VHS tape. He brings it to Raw tonight, and it's an Eric Rowan video. And I got it. I got right here kind of the thing he says, we're going to take broken hearts and make beautiful art. That's what he said at the end. When he started, he said, you know, he had a family, but the world changed and he lost a brother. And he said when he thought it was just getting better, he lost another brother. He had no family or will. Bo reached out to him when he needed it, and it gave him hope. And that's when he had the sheep mask thrown in there. It's almost like these videos are now Uncle Howdy. Oh, excuse me. Uncle Howdy is like the therapist for each one. And it's sitting there and it's asking him, how did that make you feel? And it's just getting deeper and deeper into these characters. And now we got to see Eric Rowan today, a different way of delivering the message, the videotape. Frankie Fresco will be happy about that. So, and then there was some other, you know, they started the Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler kind of group. Shayna Baszler gets her first match. Sonya Deville gets her first match back against Zelina Vega. She wins it rather quickly. Then you had Baszler and Stark beat Carter and Chance with Lyra at ringside. So, and then next week, I think Lyra will take on Sonya Deville. CM Punk will return next week. And then you have the 6-man with Xavier Woods and the Alpha Academy, or Tozawa and Otis against the Final Testament. Let's see. Set Chad free. Dude, it's going to be good, man. The other match was Sheamus against Bronson Reed. And Sheamus wins, and then Pete Dunne comes out to kind of save him. And then he attacks him from behind. And then him and Bronson Reed kind of share a moment as he's laying there. Reed's up at the top, looks down at Dunne. Dunne's like, I don't do whatever you want to do to him. And he hits him with the tsunami. So it's going to be interesting to see where that leads. And, of course, Drew McIntyre. My goodness, man. I forgot all about that. Drew McIntyre and Adam Pearce have the face-to-face. Drew McIntyre all smiles. Then Adam Pearce says, you know, I need you to do one thing. Say you're sorry to the referees that you pushed down and injured. And then he was like, look, you're trying to embarrass me now. You're trying to, one up me and everything. And then Adam Pearce says, nope, you're still suspended then. The refs, I don't know what the hell the refs are thinking. They step in front of Adam Pearce like they're going to do something. McIntyre tosses them both to the side, gets into the face of Adam Pearce, and Seth freaking Rollins music hits. And Seth comes down and little fisticuffs with Drew, knocks him down, goes for the stomp. Of course, Drew powders out of the ring. Seth's there in the middle of the ring. And man, and we'll discuss more of this tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Don't forget, right here on the Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel. It is the Squared Circle Digest with myself and Frankie Fresco. We'll dive deeper into this, but I remember Frankie, I believe it was Frankie said, or maybe it was somebody in the chat, that maybe they'll go to a triple threat match with Seth, Drew, and CM Punk. And I said, no way. To me, it's a missed opportunity if you don't put CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in the match at SummerSlam. But I feel like after tonight, it's leaning more toward Drew has been suspended again. He's not lifting his suspension. So ultimately, I think CM Punk comes back next week. Seth Rollins again comes out and talks his talk. And I honestly believe, it's going to be maybe Seth versus CM Punk. Do they get Drew involved and then make it a triple threat match? Or does Drew come out and cost CM Punk against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam? I just hope they do not make it a triple threat. Don't make it a triple threat. And I feel like it should be Drew against CM Punk. When CM Punk comes back, his first opponent should be Drew. And we'll dive again deeper into this tomorrow on the Squared Circle Digest. Again, it's on this Stanley Media House Network YouTube channel that you're watching now. If you're on X, Twitch, jump on over. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit the notifications. We go live at 7 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Frankie Fresco. It's also on Frankie Fresco's YouTube channel. If you can, jump over there. Help out with a subscription as well there. Pat and Chet are hilarious together. I believe maybe you're saying Cole. Pat and Cole. No, I love those two. They are doing they're very good together, man. And Pat just does the nonsense that makes it. I even wrote a note here. Where was it at? Because I loved how he was doing it was the part, I believe, with the yeeting. He had the foam finger for Jey Uso. And he's just there waving it in the background, man. When Seth Rollins also, Seth comes over to him and he's like, oh, Seth freaking Rollins right here, man. Bam, Sheamus comes over and hugs him. And like, it's just, oh, Chet is the baseball guy. Oh, is that who that is? Oh, okay. Thanks, no doubt. I haven't watched McAfee since they went to ESPN, man. I'll catch the clips that I follow McAfee, so I always get the clips. That's how I see all the stuff about the Wyatt Six and all that, but I haven't watched a full podcast of McAfee in a while, unfortunately. But the interaction, and I'll go back to the whole thing with Cole and McAfee, is I feel like they have just given freedom to these guys to where it makes it fun, and you can tell that they're having fun, and the energy comes across the microphone from everybody. My understanding, listening to everybody talking, if you've listened to JR on podcasts and even Cole and them, is like they used to have a guy in their ear all the time telling them what to say, when to say it, how to say it. Like basically just all they were doing was mimicking whatever is being read to them on their headsets from Vince. And like, man, dude, I'm a professional. You pay me to talk. Let me show some personality. And you're seeing that in Pat McAfee. And again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people don't like it, and that's fine. To me, it comes across, smooth and everything else, and he becomes a part of the show, and it just makes it more fun and more entertaining. Are there sometimes where, maybe it goes a little bit overboard on a couple things? Of course. But that happens everywhere, man. So let me see here. What else we got? Dom's mustache kills me every time I see it. Yeah, it's getting better and better, actually. Sooner or later, I am very interested. And the one thing that I'm very interested to see is where this whole thing ends up, man. I don't think it's over. It's just, for 3 months now, we've had the whole Liv Morgan Judgment Day deteriorating, and I just can't believe that, okay, Rhea Ripley's back and everything's fine. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe the clubhouse is fine. I honestly thought in one of the Judgment Day, remember, they're playing the PS5. Who bought them the PS5? Liv Morgan. I thought when they were playing it, Rhea was just going to rip it and throw it to the ground and break it and with the whole Liv thing, and it just feels like everything's hunky-dory. Again, there's a couple weeks to build it up, so everything doesn't happen. It might be smoke and mirrors. They're kind of, reset it a little bit, maybe. I don't know, but it just felt like that was a missed opportunity tonight, and the other missed opportunity would probably be the positioning of the Chad Gable, Bo Dallas beatdown into the Wyatt Six. I think that should have ended the show. Not taking anything away from the match that Sami Zayn and Dragunov had. I just feel like if that would have ended the show, it would have been talked about more. After the way the VHS tape and Rowan it was presented, and then you have, the Creeds join Gable, and then you have the Wyatt Six come into the ring to save Bo. I feel like you have more people talking than just Braun Breaker spearing and leaving Dragunov and Sami Zayn again. Remember, I think it was Raw a couple weeks ago, was Braun Breaker standing on the table with Sami and Dragunov laid out also. So we'll have to see where that goes. Let's see. Yeah, the PS5 and the chicken nuggets platter. I forgot about chicken nuggets platter. That's true. Pat comes off as genuine because he is a legit fan. No, he is, and it shows, man. And that's the other thing too, is in not taking anything away from others, but his, maybe respect for the business and the fact that, maybe as an athlete and everything like that, he understands some of the sacrifices they make, and as you're saying, it comes across genuine to where, it feels like he's been there and he's done that. And I know he's had a couple matches. We know the WrestleMania with Austin Theory. We know the matches with Adam Cole. Hell, he did a War Games match with Cole in the Undisputed Era and everything else there. So, he's been there, but you're right. It does, he's a legit fan, and he understands also, the respect. He gives the respect, but he also, like with Gunther, he's like, you call people trash. He's like, he shit talks too, which normal people would do. As you say, he's a legit fan. So, it comes across that way. And then the fact that they're using his show with ESPN to, move storylines. I mean, it's it's perfectly available. And again, I don't know if most of that's probably happening, I'm guessing, maybe during the YouTube portion of his show, not necessarily the ESPN portion. I may be wrong, but maybe either way, we'll have to see that way. Let's see. Dom costs Rhea the title against Liv at SummerSlam. That will jumble it up at Judgment Day. Yeah, maybe he goes to do something and, maybe he'll do the whole thing that they've been doing with him where he slides the chair in, and every time he slides the chair and it ends up costing the other person. Like he slid the chair into Zelina Vega, Liv countered and won. Slid the chair in to Becky, Liv countered it and won. So maybe something like that, and you're right, and then maybe that'll jumble it back up. I just feel like there's more to this than just like, hey, 2 hours of all this, and then at the end it's Dom fights for her against Jey Uso, and now all is forgiven. Here's the rose, but I'm not yours, you're mine. And then again, I love the fact that Jey Uso at the end of the match is standing in the middle of the ring. Rhea's staring at the ring, and Jay's like, call me. And she does a smirk, smile, and leaves. So again, is this setting up Dom? Is she going to be doing the whole thing where she just sends Dom in to the Hornet's Nest every week to fight for her honor? We'll have to see where they go. SummerSlam is setting up. Yeah, it most certainly is. I agree that should have been. Yeah, I feel like they missed that. Cat for Life Gunther was on the show tonight. He actually, him and Damian had a pretty good promo back and forth, kind of setting up for their match. They did throw a couple punches at each other, a couple chops he landed on Damian, and then he powdered out after the Braun Strowman match. He came back out and confronted Damian Priest. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, because like Gunther's been gone since King of the Ring. I mean, he came in, he did a couple things. They're doing phenomenal promo packages for him, by the way, too. The projector turning on and him showing like how he's better than everybody else, how WWE begged him to come in because they don't want people like Damian Priest representing the WWE brand, and they want him because he's the ring general. And it's just it was a good back and forth promo. Damian held his own. Damian has, again, I said it for beginning of Cody's reign, the beginning of Damian's reign, and the beginning of Swerve's reign in AEW. All three of them were really kind of lackluster a little bit. Cody's was okay because it was coming off that whole he finished the story. But Damian's last two title defenses since against Drew and against Seth have been phenomenal. It's helped build him up as a legit, credible champion. And the fact that he's been delivering on every opportunity he's gotten, the backstage segments, the in-ring promos, the in-ring work. It's all adding up to good. And then also on the flip side, you've watched Swerve do the same thing, and Cody's has also gone up. It's elevated a lot. But at the beginning, all of them, to me, got off the very slow starts, but they've definitely picked up. And Damian, I'm happy that they're starting to. Has it been a superb run? I think they could have done a couple things better for him, but he's definitely made it he'll be remembered as a champion. It won't be like, oh, okay, he was a champion. All right. Yeah. No, he's defended against Drew. He's defended against Seth. And we'll see where it goes from there. Damian is the future. I believe so. I mean, again, the one thing that I find interesting now, and I think me and Frankie kind of touched on it last week, was that if Damian loses the title now, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he could win it back and it'd be like, okay, all right, yeah. At the beginning, I was like, if he just loses the title, it's just going to be like, oh yeah, he was a champion. But now I believe they built him up to a legit main eventer, and he's got everything to do with it as well. I'm not like they built him up, but they have built him, given him the steps, and he's taken every one of them, and now he's there. So even if he was to lose to Gunther here, I believe that you could still position it to where down the line he regains the title again and becomes a 2-time, a 3-time, 4-time, however you want to do it. Because again, he's got time. He's put in a lot of time. Don't get me wrong. And on the independent scenes, he said it today. He's been gone for 20 years. It wasn't like Gunther where everything was being handed to him in Europe. He's been busting his ass and earning his shot to become heavyweight champion. And that's, I believe, the story that it's going to be. It's going to be Gunther, the entitled, who feels that he is, his shit don't stink. WWE needs me. I don't need them. They need me to represent them because I'm better than thou. And you're going to have Damian kind of become that blue collar guy who has busted his ass all these years, finally gets rewarded for it. And I'm not going down without a fight. I believe that's going to end up becoming that story. And as you said, yeah, right now there's no Imperium and that's the other thing I think that happened with Sheamus. I believe Sheamus was supposed to be taking on Kaiser. Kaiser gets injured, and now it's Pete Dunne, it's Bronson Reed, they're kind of trying to find something for him to do. And the other question I would have to this too, as I was talking a minute ago about how many triple threat matches are you going to have at SummerSlam? If it goes that way. Right now, you're looking at, and again, I'm just going off of what I saw today and what it looks like. Not saying they can't clean it up, but it looks like it's going to be Sami versus Braun versus Dragunov. I don't know what they're doing, but it looks like they're working towards CM Punk, Seth, and Drew doing some kind of work together since Drew and Seth threw down tonight. Drew is still suspended. Do they work that angle? And you bring CM Punk back at SummerSlam and his first opponent is Seth Rollins? If you do all that, I feel like you have missed out on everything that this feud has been building up to. All the work Drew has put into it, all the work Punk has put into it, and then it's Seth and Punk at SummerSlam because Drew's suspended? I don't know, man. I don't know. And again, we've got 2 weeks for this to work out, to work itself out, I believe. Let's see. We have the 22nd and the 29th, and then SummerSlam is August 3rd. So you got 2 weeks, 2 more Raws before SummerSlam kicks in. We'll have to see which way they go. And I want to thank everybody that was joined in here on the chat. Cap for Life. We had no doubt. My dad was in. We had Parker Curry. Appreciate you being in. And everybody watching on Twitch and on X. Appreciate you guys tuning in with me late tonight. Don't forget tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here, Stanley Media House Network, or on the Frankie Fresco YouTube channel, and also on X, the Squared Circle Digest, 7 p.m. Eastern. Until then, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in. I appreciate all the support. If you like what you see, please pass it along. Looking for some subscriptions. Trying to get to that 1K. I want to try to get to 1,500. But right now, first step. Baby steps, baby. Looking for that 1,000. I'm now currently, I believe, 197. So I broke under the 200. So if you know people that like wrestling, want to talk wrestling, have a little respectful debate, let them know. Join the Stanley Media House Network community. Greatly appreciate it. And at 1,000, we will put together some packages to be sending out, of course, to our loyals, and then, of course, to one person who will be drawn at random. Until tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, the Square Circle Digest. I'm Sean Stanley. Appreciate you. We out.